Okay.
All right. Well, welcome to today's call. I want to properly queue up Franco Tavera. So, Franco, this is kind of a try kudos. I'm going to give kudos to three different areas, and it's all going to tie into you. Um, but I've been working on my spontaneous muscles thanks to my Canadian friends up in Toronto. We had a spontaneous day in Toronto, and I really enjoyed it. And so I'm like, man, I'm pretty structured. I'm pretty planned out, so I could use a little spontaneity in my life. So here we are after Game 6 in the Stanley Cup Finals, where Edmonton Oilers won, and I made a spontaneous trip to Fort Lauderdale to go hang out with Brennan, go to the hockey game, and hopefully see a couple old faces, some good friends of mine in the process. And so I go to Brennan's office on Monday, and man, that morning show, I think I might have been the first guy to show up, considering I took a red-eye flight. I show up at his office around 7:30 in the morning. And by the time the whole morning show was finished, it was around 2 to 3 p.m. Okay, so a long show. And that atmosphere was just humming. I mean, he has an amazing culture. I was talking to guys like Edwin and Jordan and just giving them tons of kudos for just how well I thought they were running the show and accountability, sales training. It goes on and on. Go to the hockey game, and of course, I had to lure my good friend Patrick Bet David to go to hockey. He's only been to one other hockey game before, but I convinced him to come to the game. I said, "This is kind of a big deal. It's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. I'd like you to witness the Oilers, making history here and coming back." That part didn't happen. The Oilers lost, but Pat invited Brendan and I down to his office the next day. So on Tuesday, we go down to his office. And I'm telling you, Franco, I was just totally blown away. He's got 108 employees there at Valuetainment, and everybody treated us like rock stars. Like I followed up with Pat after. I'm like, it felt like a Ritz-Carlton experience that everybody was super friendly, meeting us and took a real interest. They all wanted to know your name. They all shook, your hand. They looked you in the eye. Everybody paused. And I was telling Brennan, I'm like, this is one of the best company cultures I have ever been a part of, doing that Valuetainment tour. And maybe I got to bring more of you guys with me to a little Valuetainment tour, because I think we could all learn something from that. And then I was telling Brennan, I mean, the two guys that I think have the best culture that I've been a part of, similar to what Pat has going on. I said, Brennan, you've obviously got this on lockdown. The other guy happens to be Franco Tavera, that I go to Franco's office, and it's humming. I think you can really size a person up based on what their people are like, how their people treat you. And so, again, I walk into your office and everybody treats the new guy, they treat the veteran, like me, like gold. There's great energy. People like coming to work. It's obvious. People are productive in their work. And so I just think, again, I'm getting back to you. And I said, there's, three people I want to speak very highly of, you, Brennan, and Pat. But I put you all in the same category of just really running a terrific company culture. And so leading up to what I wanted to talk to you about today, I mean, I don't know for how long you've been doing this, but you do a quarterly review with your key people, your owners, your top leaders, your recruiting team, and you rent a place, you go have a ton of fun, but you get down to business as well too. You require everybody to do some homework before they show up. You can't just show up and let somebody else be the moderator and we're the ones that fill in the blank for you. No, you got to fill in the blanks. You got to come prepared. So I just want you sharing some of your secret sauce, because I see what happens after these meetings. I see the forward progress. I see the crew growth. And, by the end of the year, you're going to be knocking on a promotion to OC based on the momentum of your crew. So that's my long intro for you here, Franco Tavera. And you are the original creator of the Tavera s'mores. I want to throw that out there too. So if time permits, maybe you can touch upon the Tavera s'mores for us. But why don't you take it away? Tell us about these quarterly meetings.
Well, Jamie, what an intro. If my name is in the same breath as Patrick McDavid or Brendan Fulkerson, then I must be doing something right, I guess. So
You are.
that's a very big compliment you just paid me. So I appreciate it. So yeah, quarterly reviews or quarterly goal setting, right? Um, what do you guys think? Hey, Sean, Steven, what do you guys think? If you had to guess, what's the most popular day of the year for normal people to set goals for themselves? You guys want to guess?
31st December.
When?
31st December. December
Exactly. New
31st.
Year's, right? Yeah, exactly. New Year's. So that's the most popular date that everybody thinks about, that the most of the world is thinking about some type of goals. So I went on Google and I researched New Year resolution facts.
Hmm.
And like the first article that popped up is by Drive Research Data. And I just wanted to show some of the data that's on this article about goal setting and how people think about goal setting. So for last year, according to this article, 2023, there's 161 million working Americans. Out of that group, only 38% actually set a New Year resolution, only set an actual goal. That means 62%. That's almost 100 million working Americans had zero goals at all going into their year and for their work life, right? So of the 38% that actually set goals, here's some fun facts. 80% of them forget or abandon their goal. Anybody want to guess by when? February.
Valentine's Day.
By February, less than 60 days in. Of the 38 that actually 100 million didn't set a goal, 38% did. By February, 80% of them had forgotten or abandoned their goals. According to this article, only 9% of people who set a goal actually kind of somewhat manage it all the way through the end of the year, all the way through the end of December, right? And on this article, talks about like why. So why do New Year resolutions fail? And I'll just a quick little excerpt from the article, right? There are many reasons why New Year resolutions can fail. As we covered through this post, motivation is key. Getting distracted by other areas of life can negatively impact these goals. And there's two big reasons that they give as to why. So number one says, watch out for Fridays. That's the number one reason. So strangely, according to this data, Friday is a popular day for goal setters to drop their resolutions. More specifically, people are likely to quit on the second Friday of the month, dubbing it Quitter's Day. So the second Friday of the month is dubbed as Quitter Days. The majority of people abandoning their goal. And then number two, just the excitement of New Year's wearing off, right? So people becoming distracted with other duties and day to day and all that kind of stuff. So what does this mean? So when I researched that, this fun facts about New Year resolutions, to me, in my mind, yearly goals in our type of style of business, they just don't really work. There's so much unpredictableness that happens. So much can happen in a year from a business perspective. Is a little bit more challenging to do. I think the yearly goals have a place, and I'm going to talk about where that place is. But I'm sure everyone's noticed the impact that technology and social media has had on people and their attention span. Everyone wants the quick access, something fast. Researchers are saying that attention span is now less than 8 seconds of actual engagement. So trying to get a 20-something-year-old to commit to a 12-month plan is probably not the best ideal strategy. Besides, our business is so fluid. There's always changes. We're always recruiting new talent. We're always promoting, new leaders, promoting new core leaders, maybe promoting assistant managers. Ideally, we're promoting new owners, and all of these things are happening as the year is unfolding. A lot like in college sports, it's commonly said, right, that the comparison that every 4 years, if you're a coach in college sports, every 4 years you're working with 100% a new group, right? Because you're graduating your seniors, you're recruiting your freshmen, and every 4 years you have 100% of a new crew. So similar to that, I think our business has campaign changes. There is turnover. There's changes in culture when you promote an assistant manager. Those values kind of bleed when you promote an owner and somebody else is coming to the ranks. Except it happens a lot faster than every 4 years. So quarterly goals to me, reviewing your focus and reviewing your data and reviewing how things are coming every 90 days, it's a lot more effective than once a year for several reasons, really for four reasons. I might give a couple of reasons here. So what I wanted to do for today, when Jamie asked me to talk about this topic, I want to talk about why I do quarterly reviews as opposed to yearly goal setting. And then I want to talk about how. So I'll give you guys some technical stuff on why and then how. Let's dive into the why. So I'll give you guys 4 reasons as to why I chose to change more the yearly view into the quarterly view. So number one, numero uno, motivation and momentum. It's one of the things that I've noticed the most. I've been doing these quarterly reviews, for the last 2 years. And number one reason that I think has the biggest impact is motivation and momentum. Shorter goals provide a sense of urgency, and it allows to keep motivation at a high level. We're talking about 90-day kind of burst, 30, 60, 90 days burst. So achieving quarterly goals can also allow you build, and your guys, to build your office, your teams, your organizations, to build a little bit more momentum, as success is frequently reinforced, and positive behaviors and positive commitment is usually kind of recentered every 90 days throughout the year. They allow for opportunities to celebrate small wins and big wins, and keep the team motivated, while yearly goals can feel like more of a win-lose situation at the end of the year, right? So if you had a great quarter 4, you're finishing a strong year, January comes around, you're reflecting on the year. If you had a big win, then it feels like a big win, and then that's it. If you had a tough year, then it feels like a loss. So rather than once a year, this win-lose type of situation, these quarterly reassessment allows you to just maintain motivation and momentum. So I think in general is an opportunity to celebrate, an opportunity to inspire. So what I mean by that is every 90 days we're celebrating. Okay, what happened? And I don't care how big or how small. Great. Who got promoted to account management? If I'm running a small team, now I'm doing these with my owner, so it's more of a work thing. But when I was doing it with just my team, who got promoted to account management? We're going to cheers to that, right? Who got promoted to junior core, senior core, assistant management? Who got promoted to ownership? What were the milestones that we hit in the last 90 days? There has to be, no matter how good or how bad, there has to be things that we can celebrate. Who are our highest paid reps for the quarter? Right. And I'm going to give, when I talk about how, I'm going to show you guys how I do this, but I give all the data and I show, hey, top 3 reps in my org made $32,000 in commission in the last 90 days. Like I want that to be kind of shown and displayed, So what are big milestones? Org event, org production, team productions. So just opportunity to really celebrate every 90 days. And then the second piece to kind of motivation and momentum is an opportunity to inspire. Every 90 days, it's an opportunity to cast a big vision. Here's what I saw in the last 90 days. Here's what I see in the next 90 days. Here's how I think July 1st, obviously, is the start of the third quarter. For retail, if you guys are in retail, quarter 4 is a really big season. So how did quarter 2 bleed into quarter 3? How is quarter 3 going to be our setup to build the army, to have it? Quarter 2 was build the army. Quarter 3 is have the army strong. Quarter 4 is Super Bowl season. So again, an opportunity to celebrate, an opportunity to inspire, and cast vision every 90 days. So number one, why we do it, motivation and momentum. Number 2 reason why we chose to do quarterly as opposed to yearly is the frequency of the feedback and the enhanced agility, meaning the ability to adapt and pivot, right? So frequency of feedback and enhanced agility. With quarterly goals, there are more opportunities throughout the year to review progress and make necessary adjustments. The ability to pivot quickly in our business is essential. Quarterly goals allow your teams and your organizations to stay agile and respond to any type of market, internal changes, campaign changes, anything like that. And the consistent, frequent feedback loop helps me identify any issues early on and make course corrections promptly, right? So as an example of this, this current quarter, the one that we just finished, quarter 2 that we're about to recap, in the last 90 days, we promoted an outside deal. We relocated an owner to another city. We had 3 owners in the org switch campaigns, 2 to Spectrum from EDM, and then 1 to AT&T residential, right? So all in the last 90 days. But we knew this in March. We knew that that's what the quarter was going to bring. So our number 1 initiative or focus as a team in March was territory management, right? So we promoted a deal. we had this replacement grow up. We relocated another to another city. We switched programs. We switched campaigns. In this quarter, revenue is up quarter two over quarter one. Production overall is up. Rep pay is up, and headcount has increased while dealing with all those changes. If we wouldn't have had that review in March, that we knew what was coming and put the things in place, if I would have, at the beginning of the year, we had to switch campaigns because of an outside factor that we couldn't control with the program. So if I would have had my yearly goal, I would have not been able to foresee that, right? So because of these quarterly reviews, frequency of feedback and agility allows me to stay very present, adapt, and pivot in anything that's happening in my business. So that's number two. Number three reason why we're doing quarterly reviews is increased focus and flexibility. So quarterly goals are short term, right? Which helps maintain a clear focus and allows for adjustments based on progress and changing circumstances. Quarterly goals are more tactical and operational, while yearly goals are more strategic and high level. Because I still think about my year at the start of the year, but that's more overall strategy on how we're building the org, when the promotion for consultant is coming, some bigger things. But the quarterly goals are very tactical and operational, while yearly is strategic and high level. So 4 quarters in a year, 3 months per quarter. That means there's only 12 weeks in a quarter. So 12 weeks in a quarter, short span, 30, 60, 90 days. In the last 30 days with our recruiting team, we've noticed an increase in applicants that are coming through that are very customer service heavy, not sales heavy, right? July 1st is our reviews coming up. So we have an entire 2-hour block of our review where we're doing a deep dive into all of our recruiting, right? So ads, social media, prelims, our phone scripts. So now again, I know we've all heard these things before, and I know we all do them, but the reason why I like this review is because it allows me to pencil it and put it in an agenda, and like rather than just table it as something that needs to happen sometime, is we have a specific time that allows me to act on anything that I see happening in my business, and it allows me to make adjustments and act on the changes that I'm seeing, right? And allows me to do it way faster than if it's just, I'm overwhelmed because it's just in my mind and I just got to get to it at some point, right? Instead, these reviews are great times for us to increase focus and give good flexibility. Okay, so that's number 3. And then last but not least, I think the fourth reason why we've been doing these reviews is that how easy it is for us to measure our progress as a company, as a business, as a team, as an organization. And it allows me to measure and track our performance a lot easier. Quarterly goals are easier to see. And then I can also build my projections. So quarter over quarter, I can have an idea on what my year is going to look like off of my quarters, because I can just add the projection to it, and allows me to have more effective performance reviews and accountability for everybody that's involved. And it also allows me to spot some faster trends. So I'm just going to show you guys an example of what I'm talking about. This is just the one from last year. So at December, right? Just to give you an idea. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, headcount, rep pay, the different campaigns, and revenue. And you can see quarter over quarter, you can see the progression in headcount. The goal for this year is 60. And then you can see our revenue. This is last year, quarter over quarter. You can see the increase and what we finished with the year. This is all the way through Q4 of last year. And then, we just finished our review for Q1 and we're preparing for Q2. So I'll show you guys a little bit more here, right? This is, so I got Q1 of last year over Q1 of this year. Q1 of last year, 400 grand. Q1 of this year, 900 grand, right? In the quarter. So we are now, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Quarter 2 is up. So it's 6 quarters in a row. 6 quarters in a row of positive growth from a wire standpoint. For retail, quarter 4 is supposed to be the biggest, 864. Quarter 1 is actually supposed to be the slow one. My quarter 1 of this year was bigger than my quarter 4 of last year, right? So again, a lot centered around easy to measure and easy to track some of this particular productivity. So let me stop there for a second. Does anybody have any questions before I go into how? Does anybody have any questions on why we do the quarterly reviews? Okay, if you don't, and then if you don't, then let's talk a little bit about how. And then for the how, honestly, July is right down the road in a couple of days. So I'm just going to show you guys kind of how I've structured it and the pre-work and what I do. There's an email I send out to all the managers that are going to be attending. So here's how we're structuring them. I suggest 2 days minimum. If you have the option to do 3 days, 3 days is always better. For retail, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday always kind of makes sense. For res, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I still guys have my team in the field on Monday, and then when they get to this particular time, it's summertime. So we're doing a beach destination, and arrival. It's like a big dinner. This is a really big piece of the night, which is toast and recognition. Again, as many wins as I can possibly find. Typically we have some type of drink in hand and we're doing a big toast, big recognition. I already have all of this prepared ahead of time. Recruiter recognition, what recruiter kicking butt, who's doing great, what big promotions we've had. Again, rep pay, all of that will go into the recognition. That first night, I always like to do some type of this particular event is with the org, so it's a networking event. Part of the pre-work, you'll see it down here. Everybody that's going is going to have to speak to 5 different people and ask a bunch of questions. So I prepared it specific. It changes every quarter. The exercise is different every quarter. This particular time, since we promoted deals and we're growing, there's a lot of new people that are coming to this event. You have to qualify to come to the event, but there's a few new people we haven't met before. So we're going to do some type of team building exercises. If it's not an org thing and it's just a team, I would really focus on team bonding that first night. Creating an event. That's where the Tavera s'mores comes from. If you don't know, it's a regular s'more, but instead of using Hershey's, you use a peanut butter cup, Reese's, like Reese's peanut butter. It's freaking delicious. But just some type of team bonding, that first night, and then a little bit of fun. The next day is where all the business happens. The next day is like the real center focus of the event. We kick it off early in the morning with this exercise. It's called Best and Worst. I've been doing this for 6 quarters straight. I actually took it from one of the forums that I'm involved with. It's absolutely money. Best and worst means every person has to come ready to share their personal and business best and worst moment of the quarter. So in a team setting, right, we've got everybody together. Every person is getting up in front of the group and they're sharing the personal best, personal worst, business best, and business worst. And it just really allows you to feel what your team is feeling. People have come up, hanging out, Chappie, have a good day, buddy. People come in and they'll say, I was able to pay off all my credit card debt this quarter. I was able to buy a new car. I was able to get into my new apartment. I lost a loved one this quarter and I've been struggling with that. I had this challenge, I had that challenge. And just having your team be able to get personal and share and then on the business side as well too, hey, I got a promotion, I've got a lot of momentum, I lost the team, I build a crew. So it really allows you to tap into the mindset of where your people are. So the event always kind of starts with that. Then we go into what we call the actual review. We break off into smaller groups. I've got someone that helps me in operations with it. So again, some of the highlights, and then I'm going to go over wire production, install percentages, headcount, rep pay, recruiting stats, prelims. I'm going to go over people's pay, highest paid reps. I'm going to go over org production, recruiting stats, number of seconds offered, accepted, new hire paperwork, sale, promo, turnover, right? Net growth. I didn't like the particular turnover this quarter. So we put initiatives in place, again, off of what the data is telling me, we come up with some action items, right? So we do a quick review on that, followed by goal setting and sharing goals. Again, I put this in the hand of everybody attending before the event. So then they're expected to turn this in. Simple goal setting. What are your 2-3 big focuses for the quarter? And they're going to be sharing these things publicly. So we're all in that group and they're getting up and they're sharing what their goals are. Obviously, the extra layer of accountability, is key. And let's see here. So that's the morning. This is where a lot of the real impact happens. And then this, again, this one's a beach event. So we're doing a beach style tournament. This time we're doing sand volleyball, the famous chug and run to kick off the event. A little tug of war, a little sack race. When it's smaller groups, I've done comedy club, going out to, we went to Austin to go see Joe Rogan's new comedy club one time. That was a small group. It was only like 6 of us that did the review. So again, you can just kind of an opportunity to really create a great experience and really do a little bit of connection with the team. And it's a great reset for everyone's mindset, right? And the last day is just check out and then we head out. So on the how we plan these events, I think 2 or 3 big call outs for how we're doing this. So number one, if I'm going to put all this, effort into the pre-work and into the event and into delivering some great content, I want to make sure that we're walking out with solid 2 to 3 big rocks or 2 to 3 big focuses that everybody is centered and energized around. And we have 90 days to move the needle on whatever those 2, 3 big things are that we're dealing with at the particular time. Number 2 call out would be the follow-up, right? So just like the yearly goals, most people don't complete it by February and they fall off because they just get distracted with other things. So if we're doing this quarterly review every other week and for sure once a month, I'm just reminding everybody of what are 3 big focuses, 3 big rocks, 3 big initiatives. You guys know the expressions, what you talk about, you bring about, where focus goes, energy flows. So just the fact that we're consistently talking about whatever those 3 big rocks are, 90% of the time we're moving the needle or getting close to completing the things we said we were going to focus on. And then the last thing is the experience. I think if you're a high D personality or if you're a business owner, it's very easy for us to remind ourselves of what do we want people to know and what do we want people to do. But I think the most important thing at these events is how do we want them to feel? So what do I want them to know? What do I want them to do? And how do I want them to feel walking at the event? Creating a great experience helps create a family environment, a connection. People get to, if you have somebody that's frustrated, this is an event where they just get to get the frustration out, recentered, have some fun and reconnect. If you have someone that has good momentum, this is an event where they get to relax, reconnect, and then take their momentum to the next level. So I know we said 30 minutes. I got about 2 minutes left. You guys got any questions? Anything you're curious about?
Yeah, who do you invite to this? You have core members on there, but what is the metric or what are you looking at for that?
For sure. Well, when it was just my office, I was handpicking top performers, just to be honest. Like I was handpicking people specifically. Now you have to have a minimum of a leader on your team. So a leader and up. So team builders only, just because it's growing. And, we have, I think, 30 something people coming to this particular review. And I'm sure as the bigger we get, that standard is probably going to increase, and at some point we'll do senior core and above. But when I started them, I would handpick top leaders. As we started growing right now, you got to have a leader on your team. And then eventually it'll probably continue to increase.
And so, Franco, the fact that people have to do their homework, like in your opinion, what would the difference be if you didn't? Right? Like I've gone to events where they got to bring in their own, they've got a homework assignment versus, okay, they show up, they're like, okay, I have no idea what to expect. And then we're laying on information. What is the difference in your opinion of the two?
Yeah, interest and commitment, and the fact that it's something that we do every quarter, it becomes part of the culture and people talk about it and they have great times. So quarterly reviews, it's kind of like an internal dialogue and people are excited about it. They want to qualify for it. Whatever metric we'll throw, they're going to make sure they hit it. And then they know that they have to bring their A game. Because if you're unprepared and unplanned, it's going to be obvious, so and then the commitment and the buy-in, and we know that we're going to have some fun, but people are going there to get some work
done. Do people kind of have like aha moments as they prep? They're kind of like, man, my hiring percentage is really awful. Like, by looking under the hood, they sort of see this before
Most
anybody
definitely. I
needs
mean,
to
that's
tell
what data does to you, right? What's the men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. So all the data, all the review. And in addition to that, it's not just the event, it's also the conversations that are coming out of this with the guys before they go and as they go. So most of my guys who are preparing their goals, I get this in their hands weeks in advance. And most of them set up one-on-ones with me and like, hey, I wrote my goals. Here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? You know, and with the owners as well too. They'll set up goals with them. You know, so the conversations I'm having before and the conversations I'm having after, I think that's a really big part of it as well too.
Yeah, it's good. Well, Franco, I appreciate it. I mean, I hope people reach out to you as they prep their own org events. Maybe one last question before we go. How big should your org be before you start doing something like that?
I mean, I used to do it when I didn't have anybody. I didn't have any deals. I used to just, you know, I started by me. If I show you my Google Calendar and I go back a couple of years, like it used to be just me doing my quarterly by myself. And then eventually I like, you know, hey, let me get two of my core leaders. Come here. I'm going to plan for the quarter. And then, you know, here's what I'm thinking about for the next 90 days. And that got the wheels turning. And, you know, yeah, at this point, you know, 2-3 day events, Airbnb that cost money and all of that. But you can do a one-night stay or one-night stay. You could do a 1 day, just pick a day of the week that nobody's working, and from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. you can get together, you know, and take them to a nice restaurant, order some pizzas. Like you can start like that, which is what I started with. And
Right.
then as you go, it's just gotten bigger and bigger.
Right. I mean, act as if. I mean, don't wait to become a consultant to start acting like a consultant. I mean, you know, we ask our leaders, hey, act like an owner, and one day you'll get your own business. Well, hey, listen, act like a consultant. I was in the same boat before I had even one outside deal. Like, hey, let me talk to my leaders as if they're already owners, and let's start doing our planning. So yeah, I wouldn't wait. I would really
Yeah,
get.
if you talk to my guys, I say this all the time, you know, coming off of COVID, 2020 and 2021, everything I did from a systems process, all this data, everything I started, like I have an operations manager, you know, like that costs money. Like I've invested, everything I've done has the operations manager put the data together. Everything I've done has been with the idea that it needs to be able to support 10 owners, 15 owners, 20 owners. Like it needs to be able to support the growth. And at one point that hurt more than it helped, because I was doing organizational systems that didn't necessarily make sense for one ICL, but then as things have grown, you know, that's part of what's allowed us to really hit this exponential growth. I mean, 6 quarters in a row, or if you look at it, the quarter of last year, the first quarter one of 23 was 400 grand. Growing every year. This quarter, first quarter, was $1 million just in the first quarter, you know, and quarter two is looking even bigger. So, yeah, I would start from the beginning, even if it's just you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Franco. We appreciate you adding value here, brother.
Of course, anytime.
Okay. Now everybody make some Tavera s'mores this weekend or 4th of July.
Yes, 4th of July.
So you got
graham cracker,
yeah,
Reese's cup, marshmallow, toasted marshmallow, graham cracker. That's it.
And you kind of warmed up that Reese's cup too, because
yeah, you gotta warm up the Reese's by the fire. You gotta toast the marshmallow.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one of those just for you, Franco. Just for me.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Yeah.